What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're starting a brand new movie marathon. This time we're covering all the Die Hard films, starting with the first film, Die Hard. Now, the last time that I saw any of these movies was during the release of A Good Day to Die Hard, when AMC was doing one of their huge movie marathons. Basically, I sat in the theater all day long, watching all the movies. Now, that was an experience that was hard to forget. You got to know basically everybody who was watching the marathon with you, because between each film, they gave us a 15-minute break or so where everybody would just chat about whatever. That was pretty awesome, but it didn't really allow me to fester in my thoughts about each individual film. So here we are, starting with probably the most iconic film of the bunch, about one lorn hero. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, lorn. Left alone and forlorn, aka myself during high school prom. Die Hard introduces us to John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, a New York cop visiting California to win back the love of his life, but is caught in the middle of a terrorist plot at Nakatomi Plaza. While they are busy killing people and plotting something terrible, John McClane hides in an upper level, planning how to stop all the terrorists without any help. So Die Hard is basically one of the most iconic terrorism films ever made. You know this because of the concept alone and how it's been done and redone several dozen times. Sometimes in a clear nod to Die Hard, sometimes not so much, but this is the film that really popularized the idea of one man against all odds to save the day, and probably did the best in general. I think a big reason for why this film is so big and has such a cult following is probably because of Bruce Willis, who plays one of the best characters in cinematic history, specifically because he's just so unassuming. Think about it, on paper, he's really just a New York cop. Exactly what makes him so special? Well, when I look for a good character, I look for a number of characteristics that set them apart. Something visually memorable, something auditorily memorable, some kind of skill set or disability that when you see them, you know who it is. And John McClane has all of these things. Visually, you notice him nowadays because it's Bruce Willis, but it's more than that. It's his dirty wife beater. It's the fact that he walks around barefoot with glass everywhere. It's the picture we get in our heads with the duct tape on the back with the guns. Auditorily, you're talking about his sarcastic attitude and his behavior unbecoming of a typical cop, but exactly what he needed to have to save the day. You're talking about the catchphrase, yippee-ki-yay. Emotionally, he has a stake in the film because he's not just saving the day because of a moral obligation, though that's in there too. He's doing it because his wife is in the building too. He's an unassumingly great character, and so is Hans Gruber for a variety of other reasons. That's what makes a giant action film so much more relatable and what helped this film become the cult classic that it is. You'll also notice this is one of the most recognizable, memorable Die Hard films because of the filming location of the Fox Plaza, otherwise known as Nakatomi in the film. The skyscraper, which is every bit a character in the film as John McClane or Hans Gruber is, and that's something that I don't think any of the other Die Hard films really had, which really helps the production design stand out. Most Die Hard films, you'll remember the movie for something other than John McClane, but it's kind of hard to argue that Nakatomi is the most prevalent in our minds. When it comes down to the negatives, I really don't have many of them. The only thing that I can really say is that it's not a perfect film, but the only places that didn't get full points in my rating model were just things that were neither good or bad, just typical, like the camera work, which was fine for what it was, but it didn't stand out as great. Same thing with the editing, which they did their job, but nothing looked very challenging either, just technical imperfections that kept it from being a perfect film. That's why my unbiased score is 84%, which means that the movie was good. Very good, but again, it had areas that could have been technically better. My bias score, on the other hand, is more important at 94% because that's the kind of movie this is. Something to really get your gears flowing. These two scores averaged together comes out to a final score of 89%. 89 out of 100 possible stars, granting Die Hard with a letter grade of B+, just missing the A grade territory, unfortunately. I would be really interested to see how my scores have changed throughout this rewatch, because my original score for this movie was 97%, which was the score that I gave right after seeing it during that all-day marathon. That score more lines up with how I feel about the movie as a whole, but not so much with the technical areas. Take that as you will. I would like to hear your thoughts on this movie in the comments down below. What do you think about it? What do you think about this classic action hero film? Is it one of the best films ever made? let me know. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review, because there's more like it coming out. Hit the thumbs up button, because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon, because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!